ever sat down at your sewing machine ready to create something new and just nothing? No ideas, no spark, no inspiration. I know exactly how that feels because I've been there too. Losing your sojo can be tough, and sometimes you need to step away to find new inspiration. But where do you go when sewing just isn't bringing you joy? So today I'm going to share my journey of finding inspiration outside of sewing and how it helped me return to the sewing machine with a fresh idea and new inspiration. So if that's something that you could definitely relate to, then please continue to watch. So let's talk about sewing burnout. For me, it wasn't about being completely burned out or stopped loving sewing whatsoever. It's that I just couldn't find the inspiration anymore. I would sit down at my sewing machine and be ready to sew something, and out of nowhere, it's like, nah, I don't want to sew this. I want to sew something else. Or you scroll through Instagram and you see someone else sewed something that was on your list and you're like, oh, let me go get this pattern. Because I wouldn't say being a follower, because we are all followers in some sense, okay? But, being a leader and a follower is a sense of, relief. But understanding how you're burnt out of sewing because either you sew way too much or you're not giving yourself time. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 4 tips to find inspiration outside of your sewing room, or just straight up outside of sewing itself. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So let's get into the first thing. So when sewing wasn't sparking joy for me, I decided to try something else, and that would be sketching. Now, let me just be blunt and honest right now. I'm no professional artist, but doodling designs and drawing little details like dresses or sewing patterns helped me see things differently. It wasn't about making the sketches perfect whatsoever, okay? It was just a new way to let me, be free, create freely, let my creativity flow. So sometimes when we are so focused on one craft, we forget that creativity isn't limited to just sewing. You can find inspiration in anything: painting, journaling, or even something like knitting or even crocheting for sure. So it doesn't have to be directly related to sewing. And that's the beauty of it for sure. Now, what I did was I gave my brain a break. I gave it a break from fabric shopping, which I can't do that right now because the whole 30 is going on, but we're not going to talk about that. I gave it a break from patterns, so I'm not buying patterns right now, and pretty much all things sewing. So I started to rediscover that is what really sparked some creativity as well. So it wasn't about making something perfect. It was just about making something for me. And that little shift in mindset was enough to get the ball rolling once again. So one of the most powerful source of inspiration for me was just getting outside. And a lot of people don't know that nature is full of colors, textures, and movement. And when you're feeling stuck, it can be a great way to recharge your creative energy, creative juices for sure. Just get outside. I know back in 2020 when we weren't outside, it's like, I want to go outside. I want to go get my hair done. I want to go get my nails done. But guess what? You could go outside and nobody wants to go outside. Everyone's like, I want to sit in the house and sew. So I'm going to say, get your butt up off that couch. Get your butt out of that chair by the sewing machine. Go outside and look at the sun, the clouds, the moon, the houses, the trees, the leaves, everything, and find your inspiration, because that's what you need, boo-boo. All right? Don't say that I didn't tell you. So on one of my walks, I remember looking at the way leaves change colors in the fall, and it stuck. And it struck me like a bad habit. It was like a natural palette. The greens, oranges, browns, all of that inspired me to think about color combinations. I haven't considered it before. So even the textures of tree bark made me think about fabrics with different weights and textures. It sounds simple, but really those little moments like that sparked a few ideas for me for future projects that's going to be coming up on the channel. So getting outside of your sewing room and into the world can help you see things from a new perspective. So whether it's nature, architecture, or even people watching, okay? The world around you is full of ideas just waiting for you to find it, okay? Another thing that I did was I take in other forms of art. So what I do is I'll go to like a museum or a library or something like that, and I just look around at the different books, the different artwork that you see on the walls. Because one thing that people don't know when they go to like an art festival or an art museum or the library, a lot of people don't realize that every artwork that you see on the wall has a story to tell. It's a story behind the artwork that's on the wall. You just have to figure out what are they conveying in the art that's on the wall that they're telling you in a story. So let's go ahead and talk about what I did, okay? So another way I found inspiration was by surrounding myself with other forms of art. I visited a local museum and it was amazing to see the creativity on display, from painting to sculptures to textile. Even though it wasn't directly related to sewing, I started to notice like little details, how colors played together, the textures of certain materials, and even the storytelling in the art that many of us did not realize when looking at a piece of art. So being exposed to different forms of creativity can really open your eyes to new possibilities as well. So art, music, dancing, more things than a little bit. Anything that express creativity can spark ideas for sewing. So when you immerse yourself in other creative environments, you'll find that inspiration starts flowing in unexpected ways, all right? Which brings me to refreshing your wardrobe inspiration. And another way to find inspiration is through fashion itself. So I know a lot of us, we look at the runway shows, Paris, London, New York, Philly, Mulan. There's so many fashion runway shows. Even Rip the Runways used to come on, but now it's called Project Runway, right? And with those, you can literally look at the runway and see the story that they're telling, not only on the model's face, but you definitely need to go through your wardrobe and see what you need. I tend to do these, I wouldn't even say plunge, purge. I'm going to say audit, because when you say get rid of or purge or plunge or deep clean, declutter, all of that means throw away. And I'm not throwing nothing away. I am donating, which is giving back, okay? So what I like to do is audit my wardrobe and write down those things that I need to sew in the next upcoming season to rebuild my wardrobe in a creative and less expensive way. So let's go ahead and talk about how I refresh my wardrobe to inspire some inspiration. So another great way to find inspiration is through fashion itself. So I love flipping through fashion magazines or browsing websites to see the latest trends. Now, even though I'm not looking to recreate those exact styles, it helps me think about how I can incorporate certain elements into my sewing projects. So things like fashion trends often features unique combinations of fabrics, colors, and styles that I like. So that gave me a fresh new idea to recreate something else. So it's a great way to spark creativity while also staying current with what's new and trendy going on as well. And finally, I learned to give myself time. Like, creativity takes time. Be kind to yourself, okay? Creativity isn't something that can be forced. And it's okay to step away when you need to. For a while, I thought that taking breaks would make me fall further behind. But the truth is, those breaks are essential for long-term creativity. They allow your mind to rest, process, and return with a fresh perspective. So sometimes we just need to be patient with ourselves. We just need to give ourselves some grace. Take time to explore new things and trust your creativity will come back stronger than ever before, because we're not giving ourselves enough time to do those things, okay? So you have to give yourself time and the space to get back to what you love. So if you're struggling with inspiration, remember it's okay to take a step back and look outside of sewing for a while, whether it's through art, nature, or just taking time to relax. Inspiration is everywhere around you. You just have to be open to it. And when you do return to the sewing machine, you'll find that those new experiences have enriched your creativity in ways you didn't expect. If you found this video to be educational, inspiring, and fun, please do not forget to give this video a double thumbs up, homie. Subscribe for more content like this, where I share sewing inspiration, sewing tips, sewing patterns, and lack thereof, okay? Also, let's keep this conversation going in the comment section below by telling me, how do you find inspiration? Where do you go and where do you turn to? Is it magazines? Is it Pinterest? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? How do you find inspiration when you're feeling stuck? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for my next video, where I am going to be sharing with you how going through my patterns and fabric stash helped me get my sojo back, and how it can do the same thing for you. Until next time, keep sewing.
I come through like what's good, these wigs getting split. Man better breeze than sprint, it's long if I choose to bite down on these pricks. X is a lyrical 4-4 of this, so make sure it's X that you wanna rally with. Oh, make a big man turn to a kid. Shout out skull when I slat out wigs. Never seeing X's with your eyes closed, don't move past girls behind your eyelid. Bars and flows, check out their mixture. Told them man can't handle the fix.